Welcome everybody to another episode of Let's Talk Windies Cricket. It's been a while I've not been on. Well, mostly because there's not been much cricket going on, although there have been other news about West Indies cricket. I deliberately decided not to jump into the conversation with a podcast, especially with the team selections and the new captaincy. But we're gonna leave all of that for later down in a different episode, especially when West Indies gets into the test match setup against Australia. But for now, there are a lot of West Indies matches going on. We have the West Indies senior team taking on Ireland. We have the the West Indies women's team taking on England, and we also have the West Indies A team taking on South Africa. Well, so far it's been a lose-lose situation for us. We lost against Ireland, we lost against England, and right now the A team is putting up a fight against South Africa. That match is going on right now as I'm recording this, and you could jump in and go watch it. I believe it's live on YouTube. The match is a day-night match currently being played in St. Lucia. So let's get into it. This morning we woke up to this game against West Indies versus uh, Ireland, and many of us was hoping that West Indies, based on the fact that they performed well against England and Bangladesh earlier in the year, we would have expected that West Indies would have put up a fight against Ireland and, more importantly, go on to defeat them in all three games. Well, this was not about to happen. Not in Ireland backyard, that's for sure. West Indies won the toss and decided to put Ireland into the bat. I do not know why they made that decision, but again, it's always a mentality that, oh, we better chasing. We better off chasing. Nevertheless, they were not able to take any wickets in the first 10 overs against Ireland, which showed you that the decision to send Ireland to bat was not the right one. West Indies should have gone in the bat, put up a total, and forced Ireland to chase it. Nonetheless, West Indies bowling did not look penetrative at all, save for a few very good balls by Alzarri Joseph up front and a few nice looking deliveries by Gudakesh Mori. There was not much for West Indies to fall back on to say, hey, there was some promising sides here. Both Matthew Ford and Shamar Joseph looked out of form. Yes, Matthew Ford took some wickets later into the innings, but his bowling was not consistent. It was not the Matthew Ford that I've come to have an appreciation for and enjoy watching him bowling. The pace of Matthew Ford does not allow him to be ultra aggressive like Alzari Joseph. And I felt like he was trying to do a lot of that in this one day international. Had he just maintained a good, consistent line and length over the off stump, I think he would have gotten a better outlook of his bowling performance. Similar to how many of the Ireland bowlers went about the business today. They didn't go guns blazing. They didn't go trying to knock all of our batsmen off. They just went in there determined to bowl a particular line and length. All right. And um, the opening batsman, Andrew Balberde and Paul Sterling, took full advantage of this poor bowling by West Indies cricket. It's like, what is going on? We thought we were getting better with respect to our bowling and so forth based on our performance against Bangladesh, Pakistan, and England. What went wrong in this first ODI? I do not know what happened. We call upon the services of O'Brien to help us understand better the Ireland batters as well as the bowlers, but we could say every now and there was some glimpses of tactics being imposed based on who's coming into bat that we can say, okay, they got some information from O'Brien, but they still got to 300 runs and they did so pretty easily. If you ask me, they didn't seem threatened, they didn't feel shaken by West Indies bowling. It was just ultra aggressive bowling by Zari and Ford with limited effect. So as well as Shamar Joseph, don't forget Shamar Joseph just looked beaten. It's like, who is this bowler? He just was not there. It just was not the Shamar Joseph we came to understand that would run in bowl fast on a good length. That like we saw against Australia in his very first test match. So I do not know what's going. I don't know if he's been hampered by the recent injury that he's had, but neither Shamar Joseph and Matthew Ford looked like they were ready for this ODI game. I'm sorry. Alzari Joseph started well, but lower down in the middle order, I just find he was just trying too much. It's a short ball here, a slow ball here, a wide ball Yorker here. What happened to just old school line and length? What happened to that? Because whether you bowl it slow, whether you bowl it wide, you still went for runs. You still went for plenty runs. And the short ball is going over keeper heads, leaking runs like crazy. I just don't see the point of any of that kind of bowling. All right, and old school line and length, as far as I'm concerned, gets the job done. Be consistent in your bowling. Harry Tector, who's one of the best batsmen in the world right now, he went on to score 56 runs, and Lokan Tucker put in some bowling effort, some batting effort there as well. So as we can see, Matthew Ford very expensive, went for 6.8 runs per over. Granted, he took 3 wickets, but of course, what's the point? This is an ODI match. Yeah, wickets matters, but run rate also matters. And Alzari Joseph, not too bad with a 5.1 economy with 2 wickets. Shamar Joseph, ultra expensive with no wickets to show for it. Gidikas Motive maintained some consistency, but was a bit wayward every now and then, going down the leg side. Um, Justin Greaves was, for me, the most impressive bowler. And again, that's because he went out there trying to maintain some form of line and length, restricting the batters from scoring runs freely. And granted, he didn't take any wickets, but like I said, this is an ODI cricket. This is not Test match cricket. This is just as economy rate is just as important as wickets. And Ruston Chase tried his best to keep the runs down um, during the middle overs, taking 1 wicket. All in all, not a very impressive bowling performance by West Indies against Ireland. And when it came to bat, you would expect that given the batsmen in our lineup, West Indies would have been able to at least get very close, if not chase this total down. Well, that was not the case because Evan Lewis gave himself out, run out himself. I do not know where he was going with this. So he ran out himself, only scoring 2 runs. Brandon Kim looked promising at the beginning, too many dot balls. And one thing I've noticed about West Indies cricket and West Indies batsmen, once they find a team that understands the importance of just bowling a consistent line over the off stump, West Indies batsmen struggle. This is a scene that I've noticed over and over and over again. Once, and that is why when they were sent to go and into these qualifiers for the World Cup in the last two World Cups, they struggled, especially in the last one, because those teams, those lower teams that we call them lesser teams, they don't have the express pace that, to be honest, West Indies prefer. Let's be honest about it, because what comes with the express pace tend to be um, a difference in line and length, because they're trying to get a wicket. So the line and length is not always very accurate, and West Indies batsmen tend to capitalize on that. Once they get bowlers who can maintain a consistent line and length over the off stumps, which the lesser teams from the lower divisions tend to come with. They don't have the express pace, so they rely on their medium pacers to maintain a consistent line with a little bit of swing here and there. That is what works for them. That's what they have in their in their arsenal. However, this is the type of bowling that threatens West Indies. Yeah, it's an observation that I've made over the years. West Indies struggle. Casey Carey didn't look like he just have not been there this year. I do not know what is going on with Casey Carey. All right, he has just not been himself this year at all. Okay, and Shea Hope got himself bowled, tried to play a drive for a ball that came back into him, only scored 2 runs. And we all know if Shea Hope don't score runs, you can forget about West Indies in it. It's just all hope is gone. Shea Hope brings hope. When Shea Hope don't bring the hope, all hope is gone for West Indies. Amir Django, duck, yeah, trapped LBW on his crease. What was he doing? I don't know. Faced only 2 balls. It looked like the hype around Django is simmering. Hopefully he comes strong. Hopefully in the next 2 games he comes strong. But so far the hype around Amir Django is simmering. And Justin Greaves tried his best to get back at the bowlers. A quick fire 45 from 17 balls. Ruston Chase stood tall, showing some experience, showing some class. Maybe that's why he got the captaincy. More about that in another episode. And he scored 55 runs, batting all the way down at what, number 7? Seems to me that he's in the side more as a bowler than a batsman, really. And we have Matthew Ford chipped in at 38, very healthy 38. And that's one of the things I like about Matthew. You know, he can hold the bat, and if we could get a bowler like Matthew that just focus more on your line and length. Don't go trying to bounce batsmen and all of that kind of stuff. You don't have the pace for it. Just focus on maintaining a sweet line and length that can get the job done. And then you come into bat and score a 30 here, a 40 or 50 here to help the team out. That is what West Indies should be looking for with Matthew Ford. And let the faster bowlers like Alzarri Joseph and Shamar Joseph go guns blazing, trying to pick out batsmen one after the other. That's how I see it. And of course, when Jaden Seals comes into that lineup to provide an extra level of firepower to this West Indies bowling lineup. And Gideon Mori didn't score much runs. He can hold the bat. Didn't work out. So has Alzarri Joseph. Both for duck. I don't know what's going on. West Indies look out of form, out of shape. They look unprepared for this game. All the hype, all the talk about analytics and metrics and new systems and new this and new that, none of that showed any form of fulfillment in this ODI. And I maybe they could knock it off as, oh, this is just the first game. It's a warm up. There are 2 more games to go. We will get better. They better get better. They better get better because it's going to affect their placement as they move forward to the next World Cup, ODI World Cup, and they need to ensure that they have a proper placement. Okay? Absent of that placement, West Indies is gonna have to go through the qualifiers again. And we all know what happens when West Indies go through the qualifiers. They don't look like this West Indies powerhouse team that we've all came to love and know. They look very amateur. They look like they belong in these continental leagues. Honestly. And probably get battered by some of those teams in that division. We got the USA is now doing very well. We got Netherlands doing very well. Scotland demolished us in the last qualifier, I believe it was. I mean, Zimbabwe is holding on to themselves, doing, silently improving on the cricket. They might as well chuck West Indies into this group of teams and let them play a number of series among those teams to really get some form and get some confidence back. Because if they can't do well against those teams, how do we expect them to do better against the tougher teams like New Zealand, South Africa, Australia, Pakistan? How can we expect them to do better with those teams and expect us to go into these games with a winning attitude when we cannot beat teams like Scotland, Netherlands, Ireland, USA? No, we gotta do better than that. Okay? We gotta show more class than that. This is West Indies cricket. What have we come to? Ireland destroying us by 124 runs? This is ridiculous. West Indies better come back better on Friday. I want to see a better game by West Indies on Friday. Okay? I'm gonna be up. I'm gonna wake up to watch this game on Friday, and I want to see a better performance by West Indies. This is just not what I was expecting. Job catches continues on that West Indies team. Sometimes the feeling is lackadaisical. It's like the guys don't even. There's no urgency. Azari Joseph keep getting angry at the players for not showing urgency in the feeling. We got to do better. Okay, the professionalism that we keep talking about in the boardrooms and in the media is just not showing in this team right now. All right, that's it on West Indies cricket. Moving along into the women. Not any good news here either. No good news here either. We were just as horrible as the men. The women in the 20 over, they scored 146 runs for 7. Not too bad of a total considering it's women T20. But obviously it was just not enough for England. They made light work of that 146, scoring 150 for 2. England ended up winning by 8 wickets in 16.3 overs. Basically, what that tells me is that if England had batted first, they put on 200 runs. Which means that 146 that I thought was not a too bad of a total was severely on the par. This is how much the women's cricket has grown around the world. And West Indies women's cricket has just not developed. Once again, Matthew Haley is the one scoring all the runs for West Indies. She went on for 100 not out. If Matthew Haley does not score, West Indies can forget about women's cricket. As a matter of fact, I would go further and say, call it Haley Matthews 11. That's what it is right now for West Indies women's cricket. It's Haley Matthews 11. It's not West Indies cricket because she's the only one performing on that team. Nobody else is performing. You know? Shabika Ganjabi, she was able to get 11 runs. And the wicketkeeper Mandi Mangru got 17 runs. That's it. That's it. And look at the strike rate for Haley Matthews, 149. Isn't that impressive? 100 from 67 balls. This lady is a class above all the other women. She might as well just be on the men's team at this point. It's really embarrassing to watch West Indies cricket suffer like this, honestly. The England women, they chased that down pretty easily. Sophia getting 81 not out, and Heather 43 not out, 43 not out. Fletcher and James taking a wicket apiece for West Indies, and that's about it. Nothing else to talk about, and it was a very disappointing day for West Indies cricket. Hopefully the A team can give us something to be happy about today. A dark day for West Indies cricket at the senior level for both the men and the women. The women's cricket needs to find answers. The Without Haley Matthew on this team, West Indies women team would be absolute rubbish. I just don't understand what's going on. Hence, and that shows you why we did not qualify for the T20 World Cup. We got destroyed by those teams we call lesser teams in the qualifiers. Yeah, and so that's it for me with the women's. It's just not looking good, and that's just poor publicity for West Indies women's cricket, and for marketing as well. If you would say our women's cricket is on the rise, and that might bring out spectators to watch our games. Granted, the games are in England at this moment, and but when the women is playing in the Caribbean, they bring nobody goes to watch them, and this is why, it's just embarrassing at this point. Nonetheless, let's take a look at what's happening right now in the A team. South Africa batted first. They scored 283 runs, all out. So they left some overs on the board, which tells you that if they were more secure in the batting, they would easily go over 300 runs, which also tells me that our bowling, whilst we took the wickets, the run rate, economy rate, is still not there, which it shows that there is a lack of discipline in West Indies cricket. McKinnon mainly good economy rate, taking only one wicket. And I know some people say, "Oh, but it's about the wickets." Yeah, it's about the wickets, but how many runs you gonna go for, man? When you get stronger teams who will not give away the wickets, guaranteed they will be scoring at a faster rate than that. I can guarantee you that. So if we putting up those kinds of numbers in our economy rate against A teams, could you imagine what those economy rate if these guys have to go on to play in the senior team? Come on, man. Anyway, our bowling in the Caribbean is just not disciplined enough. It's not what we need. We have a handful of very good bowlers, and there's a huge gap between the small portion of bowlers we could consider to be close to elite or very good bowlers, and then there's huge gap in the middle, and then we have very average bowlers after that. That's what's happening with, and that is why we cannot get proper, consistent pipeline of bowlers going in. We have this core group that we rely on, and anytime we try to deviate from that core group, it just falls apart. It falls apart because the difference in skill between that core group and what's waiting to join is huge. For South Africa, the run scorers: Jason Smith with 55, Kishelli with 55, Herman with 53, and Munsami with 49. Okay, not a pretty good performance if you ask me by South Africa. Maybe they were too ambitious in the batting, we could say, and didn't face off all the overs. If you had to criticize them, and but for West Indies so far they are 99 for free after 19.2 overs. So this looks like it's gonna be a pretty sweetly contested game that might come down to the wire, and and hopefully West Indies can go over the line. But right now they are already at 99 for free, despite the good start that they had. Alec Afanez, he was caught for 43 runs. Kadim Alin, 17 runs. Kevlin Anderson trapped LBW for 45 runs. I have a lot of time for Kevlon. I think he's this missing link in this current West Indies team that is playing against Ireland. He should have been on that tour, if you ask me. But that's for a different day. And Kevin Wickham is currently at one not out, and I believe most likely Shakir Paris might join him as the number fifth batsman. Um, that's about to come in. I don't know. I'm not currently watching the game because I am doing this podcast right now. But as soon as I'm done with this podcast, I will be resuming watching the game. Yeah. So that's about it. Not a good day for West Indies cricket. Not a good day for advertisers of West Indies cricket. Not a good day for influencers of West Indies cricket. Not a good day for marketers and sponsors of West Indies cricket. Honestly, it does not look good. And I really hope that West Indies can find a way to improve on this and hope for more consistent performances. These kinds of performances where team blows us out like this, it's just demoralizing. And it's not even against the strongest teams in the world. Weaklings, what we would consider to be weaklings like ourselves, are destroying us. You know, and that's not a good look. And I'm upset. I'm disappointed. And I'll be looking out for Friday. Both the women and the men will be in action again, and hopefully the tide will turn for us. That's all for me. That's all, folks. See you at the next episode.